Good day, everybody. Welcome to the day after Christmas. This is Honor News Now, and you can find it at honornewsnow.com. Santa Clarita holiday events. As we wrap up the year, local events are shifting towards New Year's Eve celebrations. Check the city calendar for local park activities, city-sponsored gatherings. The Santa Clarita market does remain steady as far as real estate goes. You can get more information on that, of course, at the referral system. To find your best agent, go to SantaClaritaOpenHouses.com. AI and Technology Over 50 series. Now, I am progressing on my series, the 17-part video series. We've done series or episode number 5.honorelevate.com, the number 5.honorelevate.com, and of course 1 through 4 as well. You can check those out. And basically, it just explains the way AI is working in the world and maybe things to watch out for if you are my generation or the one before. The one after, of course, everybody's welcome, so enjoy. National General News, holiday travel, of course, people heading back home, right? We also have New Year's coming up. Heavy traffic is expected. We also have the rain out here, so watch out for that. For health and wellness, if you're thinking about dropping some weight off by the beginning of next year, fasting isn't a bad option. You might want to look into that. And again, it's something that people don't want to go into, but I don't know what's worse, remaining at your current weight or maybe peeling off a few pounds over the holidays. It is a great way to access that stored body fat. Do your research. The Obesity Code by Jason Fung, no affiliation there, but it's not a bad book. And then he has other books as well related to fasting. And there's also some other doctors that I follow. You can find them on YouTube that really are big proponents of fasting and those methods. It always helps me whenever I want to try to set a goal. And I know it took me into my 50s before I was able to really torch off a lot of body fat. I guess it was just time, but I had tried and failed many, many times before. But it does help, I find, to get involved in the literature, to really digest a lot of information, positive, supporting my particular point of view on fasting. And of course, you have the other side of it as well. Maybe you want a more balanced approach. But when I do decide to do something, I think it's going to be the best for me. And I've studied everything I think I need to study. Then going all in on the literature doesn't hurt. Let's talk about the national news on the U.S. front. Year of policy and pivot. We're closing out 2025 in a landscape shaped by radical policy shifts and economic volatility. Following the longest government shutdown in U.S. history earlier this year, the OBBA, the One Big Beautiful Bill, has begun providing a modest stimulus. As we head into 2026, the economy is stabilizing with real GDP growth holding at 1.8%. And tariffs, you might ask? Well, the administration's aggressive tariff strategy, often referred to as the Liberation Day tariffs, has fundamentally reshaped supply chains. While inflation remains sticky at nearly 3%, the Federal Reserve just issued a 25 basis point cut in December, signaling a cautious easing cycle. Basis points, yeah. So 25 would be a quarter of one. If it was 50 basis points, that would be half of 1%. So 25 is a quarter of 1%, and that was announced. Justice and law enforcement here in California, we're seeing the fallout of Proposition 36. Over 9,000 people have been charged with treatment-mandated felonies in the last 6 months as the state shifts back towards tougher penalties for retail theft and drug offenses. Meanwhile, Governor Newsom continues to shutter prisons, 5 in total this term, as the state's incarcerated population hits record lows. Looks like all sunshine and rainbows out here. The Epstein files and transparency. The DOJ recently requested a few more weeks to finalize the release of the Epstein files, a story that continues to simmer in the background of national politics. And on the world front, fragile ceasefires and new borders. I'm going to slaughter some names here, so get ready. Ukraine and Russia, the situation in Donbass is critical. On December 1st, Russia claimed the capture of Pokrovsk, a strategic transport hub. Don't try that at home. Ukraine is under immense diplomatic pressure to cede territory to end the fighting. Even a U.S.-Ukraine talks remain stalled on 3 key unresolved issues. In the Middle East, a year after the fall of the Assad government in Syria, the nation remains in a state of transition, but faces extreme insecurity. In Gaza, the UN warns that a ceasefire is incredibly fragile. Just today, a car ramming attack in northern Israel reminded the world that peace is still a distant word. In the South Sea and Taiwan, big for the AI space, Chinese recently sanctioned 20 U.S. defense companies in retaliation for a $10 billion arms sale to Taiwan. The decoupling, of the U.S. and Chinese economies is no longer a theory. It's a daily reality affecting everything from semiconductors to consumer electronics. Latin America, let's keep an eye on Venezuela. Mobilization of their armed forces is at a high after U.S. military buildups near their waters. This is a critical flashpoint for U.S. interests in the Americas. Let's talk about AI and tech, that revolution, year of the agent as we come up. We have 2025 being the year that AI stopped being a chat box and started being more of an employee. But is that a replacement? Well, we'll have to see. The rise of agentic AI, we've moved beyond the generative to agentic systems, and this was starting to be talked about that first week in August of this year. These are autonomous agents that don't just write emails, but execute business tasks, data processing, consumer resolution, and workflow management without human hand holding. Now, there's certain industries that are going to require a human in the loop because, well, you need somebody to blame when things go wrong. So there's going to have to be some verification there. As we move on, who knows, that might be less and less, and then all of a sudden AI is running the game, but we have to watch out for that. DeepSeek shock. DeepSeek, Chinese's model, right? A massive story this year was the Chinese startup DeepSeek, which trained a world-class model for a fraction of what OpenAI spent. And they probably took some information that OpenAI paid a lot of money for and worked on. But this did shatter the belief that U.S. chip dominance would stop China's AI progress. It has triggered a global AI Cold War, splitting the tech world into two warring camps of hardware and software. Google Gemini 3, they released Gemini 3 Flash, pushing the boundaries of speed and reasoning simultaneously. NVIDIA made a power move by partnering with and hiring the leadership of Grok, aiming to dominate the inference market where AI actually does the thinking. Policy and surveillance, Amazon's rollout of familiar faces, facial recognition on Ring doorbells has sparked a massive privacy debate. Senator Ed Markey leading the charge against what critics call neighborhood-wide surveillance. And you know those terms of service agreements you sign? Well, more than likely you've given up those particular rights in some way, shape, or form. So you might want to make sure that you read those next time you set up a smart TV, Ring camera, telephone, whatever it may be. If you really care, you might want to see what the small print looks like. What does this mean for us, for the business owners, first responders, residents of Santa Clarita? Well, economic resilience with the Fed cutting rates and the OBBBA stimulus hitting. Now's the time to look at real estate, maybe long-term investments. Market volatility is high, but so is opportunity. AI integration definitely mandatory. If you're not using agentic AI in your business yet, you might be falling behind. Check out honorelevate.com. My goal through my webinars is to ensure our community stays ahead of the curve. And as a retired, honorably retired, there's no pension there. LAPD officer, I see shifts in Prop 36, and prison closures is a call for increased local awareness. Our community safety depends on staying informed and engaged. And if you've seen those events, people coming to your door with packages that aren't actually working for the package delivery companies, be wary who you open your door with. If they insist, they can leave it outside. And then also make sure that they've left or gotten far enough away you can open it, and also make sure that you might have been expecting a package. That's a big deal. All right, you can get subscribed, get boots on the ground with AI with Honor. Please go to honornewsnow.com. And I have these updated. It's going to be date, the 8-digit date. So today's going to be 12/26/2025 honornewsnow.com. That's where you see this broadcast and the special page that I build each and every day. Be well, have a great one, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Thanks for watching.